Good morning, friends. I pray that wherever in the world you are right now, that the next 2 minutes are a blessing to you so that you can be the blessing to the people the Lord has put around you today. So I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes I just find that there's like a reoccurring theme in my life that happens just over and over again, and I'll kind of explain what's going on. But last week I listened to a sermon on prayer and the place of prayer in our lives as Christian people and the importance of prayer. And then unrelated to the sermon, I ended up reading two different devotionals about how important prayer is and how prayer is actually the work that God calls us to do. And then just like 15 minutes ago, I'm in a conversation with a friend of mine who I called to ask a question about. And the question had nothing to do with anything spiritual. I was just calling to ask her opinion on something. And she's actually not even the type to say, well, you know what, why don't you pray about that? Anyway, I feel like the Lord is just trying to drive home the importance of prayer in my life, and how I need to stop going to people or my husband or my mother or whoever and start going to him with things. Anyway, we're in Matthew 9:38, and it says, "So pray to the Lord who is in charge of the harvest and ask him to send more workers out into his field." And when I was reading this verse, I was thinking to myself, well, number one, the Lord doesn't have to ask us to pray to send workers into the field. He could just send workers into the field, and he also doesn't have to ask us to pray about it. He could just say, why don't you go into the field and work for me? The reason he wants us to pray to him is because he wants us to get accustomed to taking our marching orders from him. Prayer itself is the work. And I know that, at least I'm almost positive, that everybody has had an experience where they ask a friend a question or somebody they know a question, and the answer is, oh, well, why don't you pray about that? And it sounds flippant and it sounds like a brush off, but honestly, I think it's the best answer anybody could give you, because it's the answer that the Lord himself, because in the end, the key to being a missionary, which is what he's talking about in this passage, ask him to send more workers into his fields. The key of being a missionary and spreading the good news of what the Lord has done for us is not evangelization. It's not education. It's not common sense. It's not how to talk somebody into something. The key is prayer. So I would encourage you to pray about it. Whatever it is, lay it before the Lord, pray about it, and get used to taking your marching orders from him and him only, as you go out or stay in today and be the blessing. Till next time, Katie.